When you are being your full real self, your full authentic self as a feminine woman, you are going to easily be able to inspire a man into taking care of you, cherishing you, stepping up for you, unburdening you, making the plans, making your life so much easier, taking care of your feelings, complimenting you, claiming you as his woman in a monogamous relationship, and fully committing to you. That is what happens when you are being your full, real, authentic self. And one of the problems for many women is they think that they're being their real self when they are actually not. And what we're going to talk about in this video is what your real, authentic self actually is, why you may think you're being yourself when really you're not a lot of the time. And I will paint you a picture of what this looks like and what you need to do to shift into this version of yourself that is actually going to get the kind of results that you want in your love life, which is a masculine man fully taking care of you, cherishing you, stepping up for you. So, what is your real authentic self? First of all, what it is not is when you are in your masculine energy with a man. When you are making judgments, when we're leading in any kind of way. For some women, they may say, like, just picture for a moment, a woman who somewhat judgmental, but she's honest, like she's radically honest. She owns her truth, says exactly what is on her mind, and men can respond well to this if she really owns it, if you are really confident in your truth. And when I say your truth, I'm talking about your truth in a masculine way. Like you're making judgments about a man, about his behavior, about what he's doing, about what he's not doing, about yourself, about the world. So such a woman could say, yeah, I'm just being authentic. I'm just being myself. And if you are really confident in that version, I'm going to call it that version of yourself, then yes, you can get some results with men. Because people are naturally attracted to truth tellers, to people who will just speak the truth without holding back, without pretending, without wearing a mask, without minimizing themselves. They just own it. But the problem is, a woman who does that is never going to inspire devotion in a man. Many men may like it to a degree. Those men are going to tend to be more emasculated. They are attracted to you in large part because they're attracted to something in you that they haven't fully cultivated in themselves. That masculine self-confidence, that masculine ability to speak the truth through judgment. And when I say through judgment, I don't necessarily mean by being judgmental, right? Nobody's really attracted to someone who's really judgmental. When I say judgment, I mean, you look at myself. I speak in judgments all the time. And especially if you've watched my videos, you know I will say what is right, what is wrong, what is masculine, what is feminine, what's going to help you, what's not going to help you. I am speaking the truth through judgment, my judgment of what is, and I am being authentic to myself when I do it. Just, this is what I believe the truth is. But I'm doing it in a masculine way. And that's the difference. You can do this in a masculine way. And my point on this is that I'm not being judgmental in any way. Just like I will speak the truth, but I do it with love all the time. Now, a woman could do that, hypothetically, speaking through judgment, but with love and humor. Especially when she's able to do it with some humor, it can be quite attractive to a man in a way, if she's really owning it. But because you're in your masculine when you do that, masculine energy never inspires a man into devotion. It's impossible. Men are not wired that way. Doesn't mean that they won't like any aspect of it, but it will not inspire devotion. Devotion is when a man steps up, feels this deep desire to take care of you, and actually does it. So, for example, with my wife, I feel this deep desire to take care of her, to want to make her life easier, not because I'm people pleasing, not because I believe I'm supposed to. I mean, I do believe I'm supposed to as a man, but it's not coming from society's expectations in any way. I feel that the more that she lets go of her masculine energy, and the more that's inhibited, that feeling, the more she holds on to her masculine energy. And my wife is actually a perfect example of what I am describing, where when we met, one of the things that really attracted me to her was she was just 100% bluntly honest, but not in a feminine way. She was bluntly honest in a more masculine way. And yes, with some playfulness, with some humor. But she would fully own her truth that was spoken mainly through judgments. And I was really attracted to that. One, because most people are just not being real most of the time. Most women are not being real most of the time. That really bores me. It's not going to be very interesting to anybody. But two, because I also had a wound that I hadn't fully healed, and I didn't really start healing it until about 3.5 years into our, or 2.5 years into our marriage, 3.5 years since we met, where I was attracted to some of that masculine energy because I hadn't fully integrated it in myself. And then when my masculine instinct came fully online, that was 3.5 years in, a lot of how she would show up that originally actually attracted me to her actually really turned me off. It actually pushed me away. Because now that my instinct was online, my instinct was fully wired to experience feminine energy from my wife and no masculine energy. So now we've got a situation where there's a man, me, my masculine instinct is fully online. I'm not fully integrated yet. I still have a lot of issues. I'm still emotionally reactive in many ways, but my instinct is fully online. So I know exactly what I want, and I'm only going to feel that pull and devotion and attraction when she's in her feminine energy. Then we got her, very honest, very blunt, really loves herself in a lot of ways, very confident in herself, but speaking from a masculine energy through judgment. She would say at the time, like, I am being fully authentic. I am being fully real. I am being fully myself. And yes, she is in a way, because she's not trying to be anything, that she's not wearing any kind of masks. She's not hiding herself in any way. So on that level, she is being authentic. But there is a deeper truth that she is hiding, or was hiding, that was causing her to not be truly herself. And that deeper truth is her feminine truth. Feminine truth is not about judgments. It's about being truly vulnerable. Judgment is always penetrative energetically, right? Right now, when you are receiving my words, I am energetically penetrating you with love, with care, but with masculine energy. Feminine energy is not penetrative. It is vulnerable. You're opening yourself up. You are receiving. You are expressing just to express. That's what feminine energy is. And a lot of how you are going to do that is with feeling. Now, this is where we get into feminine communication, and there's many aspects to feminine communication, but the most important and most obvious part of it is you sharing feelings. So when you say, I feel really sad, or I'm feeling a lot of anger right now, or I feel so anxious, that's your feminine truth, right? Let's say, here's the difference. The difference between, hey, Zach, that's me. You're being off center right now. You're not acting like a man right now, right? So say you are saying that to me, or my wife is saying that to me. You're being judgmental, you're being reactive. That is a masculine truth to say that. And it is true. And you can say that in a way authentically. But the deeper truth for you as a woman is, I feel really anxious. Or, I feel sad, I feel angry, right? And so that truth is about my behavior. But you're not judging the behavior, you're sharing how the behavior is impacting you. So instead of it being about me, it's about you. That's the difference. Or that's part of the difference. That's a big part of the difference. And that goes for all aspects of feminine communication, right? Like instead of sharing about how I am the problem, you're sharing about the problem that you are experiencing because of me, right? So instead of saying like, Zach, you're not acting like a man right now, you say, I'm really having difficulty opening up and being vulnerable. Because that is your truth. That is your vulnerable, well, as vulnerable as you can be, because you're having difficulty being vulnerable, but that is your feminine truth in that moment. That's the problem you're experiencing because of the problem that I am being, right? If I am being reactive or I'm not stepping up as a man. So that is your deepest authentic truth. And this is the truth that most women are hiding most of the time. Look, if you are not sharing your feelings 10 times a day, bare minimum, when you're with a man, with like throughout the day, like you're on a date, spending half the day with him, whatever, you're living with him, unless your relationship is already amazingly polarized and you've worked through all of these issues together, what it means is you're holding back. You're hiding. You might not even be aware of what you're feeling. You might be dissociated to some degree, and that's a different problem. You're dissociated, or you are aware of what you're feeling to a degree, but you're not fully sharing everything because you're afraid of being vulnerable. You're afraid that if you are truly authentic on that level, a man's going to reject you. You're going to be too much, so you're going to be burdening him, and he's not going to be able to handle you. And of course, this is all stemming from childhood stuff. But when you avoid doing that, when you avoid sharing all of that, what are you doing? You're self-abandoning. Any avoidance of your vulnerability is a form of self-abandonment. Of course, it could be much worse, sleeping with a man when it doesn't feel right for you, or giving him money when it doesn't feel right for you, which it never should. That's a much deeper level of self-abandonment, doing it to people please. But any kind of avoidance of your feelings is a form of people pleasing, not necessarily to try to get his approval, but to avoid his disapproval. And the more that you are in that people-pleasing mode through avoidance, the less real you are being, the less your authentic self you are being. And here's the crazy thing, well, not so crazy to me, but maybe crazy to you. The reason that you don't have everything in your love life right now is because you're not being real. The very thing that you are hiding because you're afraid that you will be rejected for it is actually the whole reason, most of the reason, that you don't have everything that you want. Now, I can hear what some of you are saying, because of course I run an academy program with hundreds of women. I have heard every single possible fear or resistance or question around this. And so the obvious question or the obvious resistance is, no, I tried that. I tried that, Zach. I tried to be fully vulnerable and I got rejected. It doesn't work. It really sounds nice. Maybe it's fantastic with a perfect man, but in the real world, it doesn't work. Well, first of all, I can tell you just from experience working with clients, that is not true, because I have hundreds of women who have experienced these shifts and are now in healthy relationships, who are experiencing devotion from a man. But let's unpack why this might be. Why is this discrepancy between what they're experiencing and what you believe you've experienced? Well, number one, it's possible you just opened up to the wrong kind of man. If you open up to a narcissist, a sociopath, a psychopath, or a man with very deep woundings in other ways, a man who's autistic as well, who's not able to understand feelings, you're not going to get good results because they're not capable of hearing your feelings, holding your feelings, fully seeing you, caring for you, devoting for you. So the problem isn't that you were vulnerable. The problem is that you were vulnerable with a man who's incapable of taking care of your feelings. Now, if you had just opened up on date number one, which by the way, you should absolutely be doing, you shouldn't be waiting until you're in a relationship before you start showing who you really are. If you do that right from the beginning, guess what's going to happen? You're going to find out what kind of man you're dealing with. And then you can flow away if it's not the right kind of man. You should only be continuing to interact with a man who's able to take care of your feelings, who's demonstrating that your feelings matter, that he likes your feelings, that he enjoys hearing about your feelings, that inspires him to open you up further. Otherwise, don't waste your time. He is a waste of time. He is a waste of your time, and you deserve so much better than that. So that's number one. Number two is, when you were sharing your feelings, was it truly vulnerable? When I say vulnerability, women are actually thinking of something very different. One of the advantages that I have teaching this is prior to me finding my wife and getting married and starting my academy program helping women, I was a pickup artist. I was a man whore. I was a perpetual Peter Pan that was very successful with women, like sleeping with women. I don't really consider that a very, brag-worthy form of success. It's not really being a man, it's being a child who's not growing up. But I was very successful in that way. And I have a lot of experience with women because of that. And so I have a lot of experience with women who would push me away in many different ways, sometimes by being in their masculine, but more commonly, technically it still would be feminine, more commonly though, by sharing feelings or experiencing feelings, opening up with feelings that caused me to feel like yuck, like it would elicit a feeling of disgust in me. And that's, one of the worst experiences a woman can have is when she tries opening up and a man clearly doesn't like it, that he is repelled, that he is withdrawing. Now, by the way, if this happened to me now, I'm not going to, say my wife did it. She was communicating in this way that she thinks is vulnerable, but it's not. I'm just going to be there for her and lead her into being vulnerable. I'm not going to let how she's showing up push me away. I'm going to lead her into truly opening up so that she can be truly vulnerable, which is going to pull me in. But back then I didn't know how to do that. I just felt uncomfortable, so I wanted to get out of the situation. And this is what is happening with many men and women. You're trying to open up. You think it is vulnerability. You think you are being your real self because it's scary, right? It's like, just because it's scary doesn't mean it's vulnerable. I'll give you an example of this. So and I think I've shared this on these videos before. So a woman that I went out with, and we actually slept together on the first date, which I would never recommend any woman to do. I also don't recommend for men to do. I think there's so many problems with it, but especially for women. I'm not judgmental about it. I just think it's going to really hurt you to do it. Definitely not. You really shouldn't do it outside of true committed relationship, put it that way, and ideally marriage. So my beliefs on this have changed total 180 from where I was. But anyway, we slept together on the first date, and then she had these ideas for whatever reason that I was going to be exclusive with her because we had slept together. I never said anything like it, never suggested anything like it. I did communicate I really liked her because I truly did, but that didn't mean that I was interested in exclusivity. Now, understand, in hindsight now, I'm like, man, I was being a piece of garbage. Like, I wasn't leading properly at all. So I end up hurting this woman because of these false expectations because we move things so fast. I'm not protecting her heart. I'm not being a man, right? I fully get that. If there's any judgments on your part about me, I've got all of them as well. Any anger, all of that, it's totally okay. But what ended up happening was she felt really upset. There's a lot of sadness and anger and probably some shame came up as well. But when she opened up with it, there was no vulnerable energy. There was this kind of victim energy and this blame energy that was mixed in, and maybe this self-pity energy. That's not vulnerability. That's where you're actually stuck in stories in your head and you're not actually truly opening up and asking for help with them. And so that kind of, we'll call it pseudo vulnerability because it can seem vulnerable, is going to push a man away really quickly. And you might think, like, I'm being my real self, like I finally let down my walls and showed a man who I am. But you are not a victim. The real you is not a victim. The real you is not someone who is self-pitying or blaming someone else for your problems or trying to get an outcome, extract attention from a man, right? If you're manipulating unconsciously or consciously. The real you is none of that. The real you is truly vulnerable, where you're opening up and just being with the feelings fully in your body, and you're expressing just to express. And I can say that and it sounds really simple, but when you actually do it, I see this with my students. Like, it can take months to actually get into that frequency and understand it and fully be able to do it consistently. And so it's not your real self that has pushed away men when you have let down your walls. Again, that is not the real you. Like, it would be the equivalent of a man saying, like, I'm being the real me by, like, I'm leading my wife or my woman. I'm telling her what to do. I'm, correcting her when she makes mistakes. I'm setting boundaries, but like it's all done with irritation. And it's like, why doesn't my woman respect me? Why doesn't she follow my lead? Well, because you're irritated the whole time. That's not the real you. And it might even be better to say it's not the best version of yourself. That is a reactive version of yourself. It is an unhealed version of yourself. And when I say unhealed, it's like I don't expect anyone to be perfect, man or woman. I'm not. So you don't have to be fully healed before you're able to inspire and attract a man. But you do need to be operating in a certain frequency, a certain energetic frequency that is not stemming from wounding, right? So you can share your anger, your pain, your sadness, and some of that can be stemming from wounding, the actual feelings, but the energy of it, because you're tapped into that vulnerable frequency, that's not coming from wounding. That's the real you. That's the authentic you. And that's what's going to inspire a man into stepping up and cherishing you. That's what's going to make all the difference. And when you are in that frequency, it feels so much better than being in judgment. So much better than being in your masculine energy. My job is to help you make those shifts. That's what my Academy program does. And that's what I do, starting on a discovery call, where if you can feel resonance with this, with what I'm saying, I would love to speak with you on a call where we talk all about what's going on in your love life, what you need to do to shift, and I'll tell you everything that I see. I'll show you why you are not getting what you want in your love life. And then we'll find out if the Academy is right for you, if we can help you make these shifts. If you would like that call, go below this video, open up the description, click on relationshipofyourdreams.com, watch the video on that page, and if it resonates for you, book that call. I'll see you there, and we're going to have a fantastic time. That's it for this one.